Round 2. Fight!
Hey guys, this is Claybo here with Ryan. Everybody kind of knows him as Ranior though. But we've got Group C here, which I think everybody can remember these guys from the first Fire 2 Open. ChristopherHo, jesseg, firexed, Ranior, all incredibly strong players. Did you have anything to add to these guys, Ryan?
Not super. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing this game here today. And yeah, we got a nice lineup of strong players here to watch.
Yeah, definitely strong. I know that jesseg and Ranior, just like looking at their ELOs, these guys are very similar skills. firexed, he's like basically a 600 ELO player, and then ChristopherHo, I mean, he's top 5 all-time players, so incredibly strong. I know that might create some type of targeting going on. I mean, not in the sense that these guys have it out for ChristopherHo, but you know, there's definitely going to be some interesting moves towards how they're going to try and stop the top dog at this table, which is Christopher. So
I agree that Chris Hoke has to be the favorite here.
Oh yeah, he's definitely going to be the favorite here. This here is the bracket here. We've got I guess my name still has Claybo still has the asterisk for best second place on the fire division. So these guys are going to have a really high scoring game if somebody's going to want to overtake me. So it'll be interesting to see if they get a setup that helps them get a really high scoring game, or if they get kind of an unlucky draw with maybe a low scoring game, which means that somebody's going to have to win first place to advance, you know? So hopefully these guys get a good draw, you know? Match history, this is really interesting. I mean, ChristopherHo, he basically just dominates this field. If you look at it, he has never lost.
This is by percentage, though, he is right. You're going to need a high scoring game because
yeah,
if you're going to lose,
yeah. What Ryan's saying, I don't know if everybody caught that, is the second place is based off percentage of the first place. So basically just need a high score. But looking at this match history, ChristopherHo, he's never lost to any of these guys. He's 4-0 against jesseg, he's 3-0 against firexed, he's 1-0 against Ranior, so he's never lost. So again, it goes back to everybody's going to be all eyes on ChristopherHo. You have to think. So will history repeat itself, or is he going to be able to, etch it out? We'll see. jesseg, he seems to be on the lower end of his matchup history against all these guys. It's 2-6, which is, to me, it seems like he's probably, looking at trying to just get second or third. Maybe he can get a first place out, but it'll be interesting. firexed, he's an incredibly strong player here. I don't know if anybody is going to say he has no chance of winning this. I think if not ChristopherHo, I think firexed, it would just make sense for him to be in first. And then finally we come up with Ranior, who, we heard him commentate the other day. He's very sound in his approach for the way the game should be played. So I think he has a really good chance at beating anybody at this table. His match history may not show that, but I think he's got an extremely good chance at today's game. Anything you see, Ryan, that maybe I'm not seeing?
No, I agree with your analysis there, largely. ChristopherHo is clearly the favorite, I think, but we don't really have that large of a sample size of games here. I think firexed is quite strong. I like his chances. I honestly am guessing both Jesse and Rikiri are slightly outclassed, but anybody has chances here. But yeah, I think ChristopherHo is pretty likely to win this, or firexed, I think, has good chances. I'd be slightly surprised if I do the other two good.
Yeah.
Advance.
Well, here we've got the top 3 factions for each player. And this is based off the past 50 games. So yet again, what we see with almost every player is a black or brown faction. And firexed actually, for the first time in this Fire 2 open tournament, does not have he has neither a black or brown faction. So he's got dwarves, mermaids, and swarmlings, which kind of sticks out to me. I don't know if that's saying, I can play anything. I can play any color. Or if he's trying to say, pick black or brown, and I'll, maybe try and bait you into thinking that, I'm still super strong there. It's going to be interesting. Everybody, oh man, just really interesting picks here. Not halflings, the fakirs make 50% of these top 3 factions between ChristopherHo and Rikiri. So will they, throw them in and see if either of them can fight it out? We'll see. Anything you see, Ryan?
There's a lot of yellow and brown, which is interesting.
A lot of yellow and brown.
I think, yeah, if they're both in the game, I think that's hard on both of them. So it'll be a bit interesting how much these guys pick factions based on just their favorite factions or what they really think is going to fit the setup well. Looks like firexed might have a bit of an edge if he's really better with those factions. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Another interesting thing is Jesse G with the Giants in his 3rd best faction. I think the first thing I heard about playing him is his async games with his Giants is actually very strong. So everyone knows the landscape for Giants. It's basically just like a 6-point handicap. So if for some reason somebody throws that in there, it'll be interesting to see if Jesse bites for that, or if he's the one who throws them in there, because Giants are a really interesting choice with the landscapes. It really makes them viable. And Jesse G has just been very strong with Giants for so many years. I think that was the first thing I heard about him. So
agreed. And we're getting the game up, and I've already pulled it, and I am super excited for this game now. It's round 6 towns, which are some of my favorite games. It often leads to very high scores. It leads to people fighting for town space. On top of that, we have all 4 victory point pass tiles in the game. So there's a lot of scoring in the pass.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of points to be had this game, and a lot of ways to get them, which I think leads to some more interesting lines.
What is the turn order for these guys picking?
We have firexed, Rikiri, Jesse, and ChristopherHo as the pick order here. So it'll be interesting to see what they pick. I mean, there's just lots of factions that can live with this type of stuff. The first couple rounds don't really tell us much. You build a trading post on your way to a temple or stronghold. You might get some digs in round 3, but very few factions can realistically try to abuse that. Maybe halflings. Building more dwellings in rounds 4 and 5 is fine. It's a little hard to, you can build a lot. Having back-to-back rounds isn't as good, but then round 6 towns, again, you can build a lot of your dwellings in rounds 4 and 5 and then kind of upgrade to trading posts to make your towns in round 6. There's a lot of points. The pass tiles don't have a lot of economy, so we're missing the 6 coins. We're missing the spade, which is often pretty important. And we're missing worker power, which also can really help you get early spades and early dwellings down. So
you say low economy, and I see one of the best economy cult bonuses in the 3rd year, which is the 1 earth for 1 gold. Do you think any of these guys are going to try and pick maybe engineers or dwarves or cultists to try and get early on that? And if so, how effective or how important would it be to get one of those factions that can really abuse that cult bonus in such a low econ game?
Exactly, it's a low coin game in particular, so I agree. Leveraging the Earth Cult is going to likely be very helpful for some of these players' economies. Getting a bunch of coins to start round 4 is often a good time to get them. Your early coins kind of start running out after the first, 2 rounds of what you're building. So I think those Earth Cult coins are gonna be really good. Again, there's no pass spade, so I think early air and water bumps are also good if you can actually get those early spades. And the later cult rewards do kind of suck. By the time you get priests in round 5, kind of useful but not that useful, and then power in round 5 is not very good, partly because you've already burned down a lot of the time, or by the time you're in round 5, you've built up your economy enough, you're already producing quite a bit of power, and so then
Mhm.
you might just overflow it. But so the late cult rewards aren't very good, but the first 3 rounds, I think trying to leverage that cult economy as part of your overall game is going to be quite good.
Yeah, I definitely
Um,
agree with
so,
everything said there. We
so it
see
looks like we have our first pick. Yeah, we have alchemists.
Yeah, we see he picked Alchemist, which has to be to leverage the fact that this is a low coin game. Um, you said the last round is keys, so he's got to be aiming for at least 3 towns this game, and maybe 4, depending on what spaces he's able to grab during the game. Initially, it's tough to say where he wants to start, but he's definitely going to want to start somewhere in the east, somewhere in the west. Where the other or where those are going to depend is what other colors are in this game. So we just saw Rikiri select red as the Giants, which again, a Giants in a game with jesseg. That's really interesting. We've got what we were talking about in the pregame. So
It is. This is a pretty good Giants track, though. You're going to build a stronghold early. You're going to be able to get digging points. You get a bunch of dwellings out, and you aim for
mhm.
3 towns. All the past tiles are really nice for Giants. Good way to score. So we have a fast cultist pick from Jesse already. Cultists are just kind of generically good. They're fine here. Again, leveraging those early cult rewards will be nice, and um, depending
Yeah,
on what else gets picked, the cults might just be kind of whoever wins cultists.
Yeah, no, because as of right now, Giants or Alchemist, I mean, at least from impulse and experience, tells me these guys are not going to compete on the Colts that well. It's really tough for either of those to have a solid game competing in the Colts. But another interesting thing I think is at least my gut tells me Giants prefer to build trading posts late in the game. Are you not worried that the trading posts are early instead of late? I mean, sure, they'll be able to get dwellings late as well, but are you not worried about missing out on those early trading posts bonus potential?
Really think anyone's going to build a lot of trading posts early. Trading posts just aren't that strong of a way to make your economy. You really just want lots of workers early usually. So I'm not that worried. It's not an incredible track for Giants, but it's honestly not an incredible track for any of these factions. Most of these factions are just going to build like all of their dwellings during round 4 and 5, and they're going to build
Hmm.
quite a few trading posts during those rounds too, probably just to free up more dwellings.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We get witches as the final pick here. Color-wise, that made a lot of sense. They have no color neighbors here. Witches in a late town game are always very interesting. Witches with that air cult in round 1, they can often get that spade bonus. So I think it makes sense. So I guess the question is, what are you most interested in here now that we know the factions?
Uh, I mean, where is everybody gonna start? Maybe because you got to think that's how you're bidding on these factions. Because if you can kind of dissect a plan, then you can figure out how strong everyone is. Because I guess cultists have to be number 1 or 2 because witches are very strong here without having a color neighbor. So where do you think Giants are going? Because Giants can dictate kind of how this game is going to unfold. Do you have any
So
ideas?
if this is where our producer or whatever wants to throw up the hex chart, but Giants are almost certainly going to put one of theirs at what is that, D7? I don't even know the hexes off the top of my head.
Yeah,
Yeah,
D7.
whatever. The upper right red. Yeah, there's just really good expansion off of that spot. You threaten the north too. Alchemists tend to like to connect up north, so that causes some issues. I would expect Giants are also going to start center, so they probably start D4 is the other hex they're going to be on.
Hmm.
I partly do that just so witches don't have the easy center town because nobody else this game's going to stop them. And that just
Right.
gives Giants plenty of options here. Cultists clearly will start center as well.
Yeah, on
Witches
E6.
will put one dwelling at. Yep, witches are going to put one dwelling at F4. Witches probably put the other at E9.
Hmm.
It's kind of the traditional spots. So it looks good for Leech for Cultist right at the center, which it odds to see a lot of action, a lot of Leech. Um, Alchemists have this slightly tricky issue now this game of
Yeah, it's
where do
the
you start?
G5. Yeah, I was just gonna say, you can easily start E5 in the middle and have no problems getting, all those black hexes C1, B3, A8 up north. But then with your second initial dwelling, do you go G5, E10, or even something else that maybe I'm not seeing as in, I mean, I don't know. I'm only seeing E10 or G5. But Giants threaten that cutoff on D8 if they just double dig there before you ever get to go there. And then cultists can kind of cut you off real quick if they start on F4 going down to G4. So I'm not really sure if alchemists are super good here just because they're threatened by that connection. But if they can ensure they still connect, I think they could have a pretty solid game. Like it's hard to
So I
knock
broadly
them.
agree. Alchemists, I think, are very fragile early on, and if they are allowed to get their hexes, they're gonna have a good game. But I personally think both Jesse and Rickery are making mistakes bidding for them already, and not super
Yeah.
shocking. I think those are the slightly weaker players at this table. I think they're making errors here. I think they're gonna regret that, unless the other factions start getting bid much lower than I think. But I think witches
Mhm.
and cultists are pretty clearly the favorites this game. Alchemists have so many ways their game could go wrong. There's a couple where they could have a monster game, but
Mhm.
I think these other players will. I think these other players will understand how to cut and influence their game.
Yeah. And we see Christopher take a bid on Cultist, so maybe that's going to start the chip down train because, also there's kind of mind games in the auction. Like maybe they don't actually think Alchemist is best or second best here, but maybe they just want others to think that they think that. And maybe they can do a quick switch on their bids, maybe to Cultist or Giants late and really catch someone off guard is kind of the only reason someone would do that. But yeah, I think cultists should be bid as if they're the best here. I mean, witches are going to be very strong just because they can grab a lot of their hexes they need to build the towns and really get the econ going. But cultists are going to be able to do that, but also really do some work on the cults. So it's interesting what we're seeing here. Witches all the way
Yeah,
down to 22 too.
which I think is totally correct. Witches, the only downside for witches is they're fourth, so they're gonna upgrade last, so they have slightly less leech than they might ideally want. But they get first pick a pass tile, and I'm not actually sure how the pass tiles are breaking down this game yet either, which is the tough thing. I think witches might just take priest, so they could just send it to air, but it's not clear to me who's gonna get spades in round one, which is also gonna dictate a good bit of this game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think priest. I mean, I don't know. I think I would go for priest here because then you have the option if you decide not to go air 2 with your first temple that you can still gain that shovel for the first year bonus. And it also gives you flexibility to send it through earth if you just want to go ahead and secure some coins in a few rounds. Um, they definitely can dictate who's getting what bonus tiles, which is really that can be pretty powerful in some games.
It can be. I see. The thing is, witches. I'm looking like witches. Temp ship is also quite tempting, though. As always, right? You have easy hexes to temp ship to, and on top of that, though, I think taking the 3 power might mean witches would get the double dig in round one. Since Giants likely open Stronghold here, I think Witches potentially can just get Double Dig and Earth 1 still, and they're going to get plenty of Leech this game with these colors and just the way factions are likely to expand. So I'm pretty on board with just bidding Witches a good bit here.
Yeah, also on top of going temp ship right now, going into the second year, you're going to have a bunch of dwellings that want to naturally upgrade to trading posts, which just goes along with the game plan. I kind of like that strategy. It's pretty solid.
I don't. The main things I expect at this point is I expect Giants are going to open Stronghold and get down to a dwelling. They're probably going to be the one that takes the Workers' power action in round 1. I think Alchemists are probably going to take Temp Ship or the Priest and try to advance shipping twice. They'll open Temple and get some dwellings down while having shipping. Cultists just upgrade and probably hope for a spade. The tricky thing for cultists here is if they are bold enough to go for the air cult spade. I don't really love cultists here precisely because it's hard to get that air spade. So I don't know exactly what they'll do. And the most interesting question is if we see cultist, alchemist, and witches all just take Earth 1, or if any of them are going to try for an economy favor this game.
Yeah. I would suspect witches to go air 2, but I'm not saying that's the best move or what will happen, but it's definitely gonna influence everyone else. Well, actually, witches would build last temple, so if everyone grabs Earth 1 before them, they
Well, Giants aren't going to build a temple, right? That's the thing. Like, Earth 1's pretty open. Or I at least assumed we're going to see Stronghold Giants. I'm sure NerdCube's probably in the chat yelling at me. He's not in the chat. But recently, NerdCube's been exploring with opening Earth 1 Giants into Stronghold. And to be honest, this is the sort of game where maybe you get away with that because there's trading post events early. So maybe you can just build up. I don't think I would do it, but the Giants player here could maybe surprise me, and they could just open Temple for Earth 1.
Yeah, they would. I mean, if you go Temple as Giants, you have to secure double digs in that round or the subsequent round. So they would be forced to take a 3-power token or 3-power pass token. I don't know how strong that is for their game.
Yeah, I don't know. Just looking in the chat, they're giving me a few dangerous ideas here for cultists. One suggested is possibly Air 2 cultists, which I actually don't hate here, because you can go for a quick second temple in round 2 right away. The other thing that cultists might be able to do is possibly double temple. They're gonna have to get more workers though, and I am assuming Giants are gonna. Wait, what's the order? I can't remember now.
It's firexed.
Cultists are third. Cultists are third, so cultists could take the 2 worker tile, and they could just open double temple this game. And
yeah,
I don't hate that.
It also doesn't give one faction like a ton of leech. It's gonna spread the leech out. Because like normally if you go double temple with like gray in the game, you're giving gray double leech because you're giving them on the middle side and then over on the right side of the map. So in that regards, it doesn't sound too bad at all.
The other cool thing for cultists here is that you get to open 2 temples. You would take Air 2, so you're going to get a cult spade. The tougher thing is your worker economy is really iffy, and there's no worker cult bonus. I'm not sure I'm as loving it as I'm thinking more through it, but it's an option.
Yeah, the only thing I see about that is if you're brown, if you're cultist, you're competing with alchemists for some important hexes. So if alchemists start G5, is there a world where they maybe could grab G4 if cultists go double temple, or is that not even in the game plan? Because
usually alchemists don't double dig early, but you're right. You're leaving yourself open to some real risk. The other the upshot to 2 temple is that 2 priests early is nice, but I think you're right. I think cultists probably just should open a single temple, but I think they might want to follow it up with a second temple right away in round 2. I think that might be the line, because priests are going to be good here. Giants, I'm still anticipating are not opening temple. I'm assuming alchemists are going to use their priests early for shipping and digging, so the cult should be pretty open early to get some key spots, and having a lot of priests is fine. And then cultists usually upgrade shipping later anyhow. Which is the other kind of big debate here, right? Is how fast do cultists upgrade shipping and potentially try to go north? Alchemists likely will beat them to all of that, which does make you wonder where cultists go from there.
Yeah. And that goes to if witches take temp ship, that's going to hurt alchemists opening, because the only real way alchemists are going to be able to start a temple and grab some extra dwellings up north is if they either get the priest or the temp ship. And I just don't see that priest making it all the way down if the temp ship is already out of the picture. So
yeah, it's not even clear. It's not even clear to me that giants won't take temp ship either. Temp ship lets giants get onto an extra red early. Giants could take temp ship, open stronghold, take the 2 workers power action, and build 2 dwellings and open stronghold 3 dwellings, which is pretty good. So I agree. I still think these alchemist bids are really risky.
Well, looking at the bid status where we're at, brown and black, so alchemists and cultists are at 25-24. Cultists at 24. And then the no color neighbor, witches and giants. Witches are at 17. Giants are at 30. So there's starting to become a pretty significant gap between first and last faction. So there's a 13-point gap between, witches and giants. And from cultists and alchemists, I still think cultists should have a bigger gap on alchemists, maybe 4 or 5 points. That could be wrong depending on what kind of opening alchemists are able to get out, but
again, it's very hard to value alchemists here because they're such high risk, high reward kind of, like there's a lot of ways it could go wrong, but if it goes right, they're gonna have just a killer game. But I just think it's very unlikely it goes super right.
Yeah, I've been in some games where giants also go double center, which is basically to stop cultist production with the easy town in the middle. It can kind of gain some extra leech when cultists decide to dig on F3. It also just helps. There's a lot of benefits I can think from it, but is this anything that you would see coming from this game? Is double center giants?
I actually do it, but I'm probably too in love with having that east dwelling. Double center is probably not that bad here actually, because you do get away with you are going to get away with as giants eventually just temp shipping and taking the reds in the east anyhow. So yeah, maybe they would start there. It certainly would shift things up a bit. Because basically, why I'm saying it's going to shift things up, we're both assuming that cultists are going to aim for a sanctuary town in the center off of E6, F3, and G2. But if cultists don't get G2, their game is significantly worse.
So maybe this is a way that players, if they saw ChristopherHo or somebody that they wanted to maybe target in a indirect kind of way, they could take giants here and go double center, saying, I'm not going to let you get such an easy town in the center, make your game a little tougher. It's not a direct, I'm going to take away your hex, but it's, it's an interesting strategy that could be seen here. Christopher is currently on the cultists. So anything can happen. Maybe, I think firexed. I can't see who's off of the bidding right now. I guess it's firexed. Yeah, has to make a choice here. Maybe there's a window here to
take still giant. On witches, right? Or no, Rickery's on witches. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Giants, I still think witches are at a good price right now. I think witches are better than, or given the points on some of this, I would keep bidding witches, and that is what we see firexed do immediately.
Mm-hmm.
One of the big questions for witches is where alchemists are going to start, and if anybody's going to stop them from taking. That's
B5.
G6. G6? No, that's
G6.
the hex that I
Oh,
care about.
oh, interesting.
So
Yeah.
as witches, oh wow, okay, so we're done with the bidding. We'll talk about it in a sec. But witches, if they're allowed to get that just all the hexes right down the east, that town's
Uh-huh.
very nice for them, but they often get blocked from it. And if they're going to get blocked from it this game, and giants do start east, it's going to be a little tricky for witches to find town space beyond 2 towns. Um,
Yeah,
but anyhow,
especially if
we're done with the bidding. So we have Rickery is the one that takes the Giants, not Jesse. Jesse winds up with Alchemist. ChristopherHo has Cultists, and firexed has Witches.
yeah,
What are your
one thing I'm
thoughts
kind
on
of
who's won this auction?
well, one thing I am starting to see a little more is especially depending on where giants go for their second dwelling is witches may have some tough towns to make, especially if you're saying that blue hex over on the eastern continent might get taken, then it's really hard for witches to town up over on the east. And alchemists are going to want to get to the B6 hex, which is the northern black, so that's also going to stop witches from towning up. So witches have some work to get these plans for the towns made out. So maybe it just goes to show that taking that temp ship first round is really going to be strong. I think that might be the better move. So you asked who I thought won this auction. Man, my gut tells me cultist just because it looks like they're going to be able to have the easy center. No matter where black plays, cultists are going to, and that just helps cultist even more.
Well, it helps cultists, but it also helps witches. Witches are likely to get the east now because witches will beat alchemists to G6 in most scenarios. So witches have an easy east town and a pretty easy center town with a bridge.
Mhm.
But yeah, cultists just got a really nice spot in the east. So I think, both the players early on that I said that I think I liked probably just the raw strength. Both ChristopherHo and firexed, I think, have put themselves in good positions.
Yeah.
I think I still like witches the most here, but it's pretty close. I actually think this auction was pretty fair, except I'm still really nervous about alchemists. But
Yeah, I mean 24 points though with all the scoring bonus tiles, even if things don't go exactly the way you want it, they still seemingly should be able to rack up.
Our apologies. We've had a small issue. We will be back with commentary in a second.
all right, sorry for brief loss there. So anyhow, the interesting stuff that's happened thus far is Alchemist did take power tile, and it's the ship tile. So the question is if they're actually trying to get enough power for shipping a bunch, or if they're hoping to get double dig. Witches have enough power for double dig here, and I think he should just take it.
Most certainly. Cuz like you said, they're not worried about losing out on Earth 1. So, if you can take the double digs, I think you have to. Where
I
did the
agree.
double digs
So-
go is the question.
Correct. So now the other question is if it's not really a great track to do a dwelling rush, and yet it does help you secure a lot of territory to be able to potentially 3 town. And so It's a tricky debate for me if witches should try to do a weird just dwelling rush into a bunch of trading posts type thing. I don't think they should. I think they should just double dig and then build a temple. So if they're going to double dig, I would take E7 and then I would take what is that, F6. Basically, take the 2 grays that they're next to.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, taking the central gray hex is definitely going to give them a little extra leech. But I think if it's me, I might not go with that center gray. I might just go with the 2 eastern gray hexes because it's going to allow you to grab all the greens up north, but also you're going to be able to beat the alchemist to that key blue hex we were talking about. But
Okay.
firexed, yep, and that's what we see.
And he is going with your line, which is totally fair. The only slight reason that I like this center gray is just because it's not committing you to a sanctuary town in either of those spots. Whereas I think giants probably just take the center gray now, which means witches probably are going to have to just sanctuary center, which is fine. It just gives them less flexibility on finding a third town.
Right. And that center hex is going to serve giants really well. I mean, that's going to give them a bunch of leech. It's just nice to be able to get that gray hex too, because if they ever get shipping enough to get down to the
and now we just saw another.
reds.
If we saw another interesting move here, firexed didn't actually build any dwellings, but giants are probably just making a stronghold, in which case they're going to threaten that green with their double dig. So I think he might just have to build it in a sec anyhow.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I'm
not even sure.
I'm guessing he was trying to go for Earth 1, right? But I don't think there's a world where he can go for Earth 1 and then build those dwellings. They're just in too risky of a spot.
Yeah. So the only thing that I can think of is he's trying to stall for, like, he's already planned out this whole year, and he knows if he goes ahead and builds, he's going to be the first to pass, or maybe the second to pass, and he doesn't want that turn order in passing. That's the only thing I can think of. That may not be what's going through his head.
He is taking extra turns here in round 1, and maybe that's good for him. So we'll see. Giants do just open stronghold. Already have the 2 workers. I'm happy enough with what they're doing. Alchemist took the priest, so it does look like he's trying to just commit to getting enough leech in order to get a second priest via 5 power priest. He needs 3 more power for that, which
he will get. He will get.
Oh wait, no, you're right. He will get it. Never mind. He can delay. And then I was about to say what Chris is going to do, but Chris got priest to air, so he already has locked up a cult spade, and I think he's very likely to get single dig, and so he's going to get to open temple and 3 dwellings, it looks like. I'm still curious if he does crazy, like, well, it's not good. Whoa, an alchemist got cut off. Okay.
Yeah, and that is kind of what we were talking about with the fragile alchemist openings. It's really tough to play this kind of game from here because now you might not be winning network because you still want a town there, because that's probably going to become a temple, which may lead to becoming your sanctuary.
It's very likely to be the sanctuary town because witches are still going to be fighting for that blue. So, I mean, alchemists admittedly, I guess, could get that eastern yellow. So, but regardless, yeah, alchemists are going to have 3 or 4 hexes here to make a town later. But these hexes are cut off. They're never connecting these up to their other ones. So, yeah, I mean, this is what we've been saying, that alchemists have some fragilities, and we're already seeing it. Alchemists are probably not connected, which is going to hurt their network. And I don't know. It looks. I think alchemists are in for a rough game, but
also I agree, and they might be in for a rougher game because witches have this move where they can decide to build on whatever green they want. And if they choose not to give alchemists the leech, that means they will not be able That means Alchemist won't be able to buy that priest we were talking about.
Oh my gosh, you're right. Alchemists are it's almost certainly correct for firexed not to give Alchemist more leech here. And so
Yeah.
Alchemist, won't be able to 5-power priest, and so they won't be able to go on a shipping spree. So they're gonna open round 1 with a temple and a dwelling, and they're gonna be cut off. Like it's real bad.
Yeah, so we'll see what witches do with that. It is Giants' move right now. They don't. I mean, they can buy gold or workers. I know I've played a game with you before, and you've told me that the best thing to do with Giants is to spend your power on resources and not on digs. And I've taken that a long way with me, and it's worked out pretty well. So I don't know if you like buying those here now or passing out now and grabbing some gold like we might see.
I think passing for the cult step's perfectly acceptable here, and then at the start of next round they can they have options on how to use their power. But yes, correct. I am a big proponent of Giants should use their early power on getting 7 coins, on getting priests, and maybe occasionally workers. And the main reason for that is spending 6 power per hex is fairly expensive for double dig. They have 1 dig around, which is pretty good, and then the cheaper way to get on hexes is usually to ship to them, which is why getting the priest and the coins tends to just be a more efficient way to get more hexes. And so Giants have a couple reds that they could already ship to if they get to 1 or 2 shipping, and that's going to explode their economy faster than using their power for double digs.
For sure. I definitely like what I see with Rick Curie's Giants opening here.
I agree. There's nothing wrong yet with what the Giants have been up to. It's going to be interesting here to see what the follow-up is here in round 2. Are they going to go for a temple? If so, they probably do have to take a coin's power action and a worker's power action, which they probably can get both. We do see that the other 3 players did all just go Earth 1s, so my dreams / hopes of seeing anybody do fancier things with Air 1 or Air 2 or Fire 1 is on. I think that might be a mistake from Cultists still, to be honest. I really liked Cultists with taking an econ favor and to just build a second temple next round. I guess he was concerned maybe he couldn't beat Giants to Earth 1, but I think he totally could have. So I think it might have been a lost opportunity for Cultists, but
yeah, we also come to Alchemist without the ability to buy his. The Alchemists have already passed, so they have made out of this round with 1 temple and 1 dwelling. So it's by no means an ideal. I wouldn't even say it's a.
This is the disaster. This is what I was talking about with high risk, high reward. This is the this is the high risk line. They got cut off, and they didn't get enough power or the pass tile in order to do any shipping. They didn't get the spades. Alchemists really snowball hard with getting lots of dwellings out, and he's just so far behind the curve, and he's got cut off. I will be very surprised if Alchemists don't just take 4th this game. Like, it's that bad. It looks...
Yeah, I think that has to be the expectation here. Anything else would be very surprising to me. And I also think ChristopherHo going with his single twig instead of his double temple, I actually like that a little better. I mean, I realize the super strong opening that is the double temple, but I just really like seeing the temple with 3 dwellings. It's insane.
Completely agreed. This is better than rushing a double temple opening. He's in a really good spot. I just think I would have tried to get a second temple next round, and maybe he still does. But if he was doing that, I would have taken Fire 1 with my first favor, and expected I could just rush and beat Giants to Earth 1 next round. Witches had an interesting decision here on what hex to take, and they do use their temp shipping up north, which I think is correct. Now that Alchemist got cut off, Witches have a decent chance of getting that black up north, and that can be their 3rd town. which is really good for them. I think Witches and Cultists came out of this round in very good spots. I think Giants are still in an okay spot, but nothing exceptional happened for them. And Alchemists had basically the worst thing happen to them.
Yeah. I mean, Witch's game plan just seems to make sense here because they need a source of gold, right? So being able to build the trading post here and score victory points coming into this second year is going to be, it's going to make sense. Then right after that, the next year, they're going to want to dig this black hex before Giants are able to mess with them. So they're probably going to be looking for that. So Witches, they're going to be able to start making some victory points and pathing out their towns. So I think their game plan is sound and definitely contending for first place for sure.
Yeah. So the next interesting thing here is where Cultists put this Cult Spade. I'm assuming we're going to see it east, because if he puts it center, he risks Alchemist choosing to mess with it by digging. I don't think Alchemist would single dig it, but it'll be interesting to see what Cultist chooses on that front. Some of the big questions for round 2 is, what is Alchemist going to do beyond just ship and build dwellings? It might just be that.
Yeah, I think Cultists have to dig on the eastern yellow, okay, which we see. And yeah, as for Alchemists, I think the only thing they can do is grab a bunch of dwellings, and maybe they have the workers to go for water 2 here if they want. I'm not sure that that's what we'll see, but they can possibly grab the power action for 2 workers. They have the ability to increase their shipping, take 1, 2, 3 dwellings, which, still allows them to build another temple for water 2, because they need to score victory points, and water 2 is, it's going to allow them to do that.
Kind of. I think Giant should take coins here, and he does. Excellent. Good work, Rikiri. Excellent move. This table has coin problems, and it's a low coin game, and I think that was
see coins,
that was a
take
great
coins
move for him.
Mm-hmm.
It looks really good for him. I don't think Cultists can do much round beyond. I think they're going to just build a dwelling and just build a trading post. I think Witches are basically going to do the same. I think they're going to build a dwelling and a trading post. We might see Witches send Priests to water here. Nope, he just goes Earth. Never mind. That makes more sense, because he's
he wouldn't be able to hit that 4
water
spot.
So he gets first Priest to Earth, which is for Witches coming up. I think Cultists send Priest to water.
Yeah, agreed.
And then start using their cult.
Yeah, and from here on out, I expect, at least for the next couple of years, anytime Cultists have a cult step, they should go up in air just to get that third year coin bonus. So they may be low on coins now, but they should be getting them back pretty quick. Alchemist making the journey up north.
Yeah, Alchemists are doing the right thing. They're shipping where they didn't take coins round 1 and just passed. I think passing for the tile they did was good. That's a good tile. And I think denying the 7 coins action to the table here is quite good. I think it's a better sequence for Rikiri than take the coins last round and possibly not take them again here. Because I don't think he would take them again here if he already took them in round 1. He has enough coins for a while. I was going to say he needs a priest, but he took the priest power action because he's a champ. And yeah, he's doing good things.
He is doing good things. So it should be pretty clear where Witches towns are going to be, at least where the plans are. But what about Giants here? Obviously, we're going to see one in the middle. We're going to see one over on the right. So do they try and go for the north, or do they just give up and maybe... I mean, eventually they're going to have to upgrade their shipping to get a third town, is what I'm seeing. Maybe over to the left of the map.
So this is part of what's going to cause Witches problems. Giants are almost certainly upgrading shipping this round. I think they're going to build the red they can clearly get to. And then Giants, I think, just dig the northern black and build on the red and kind of ruin Witch's third town dreams.
Ooh.
Or at least the obvious spot for it.
Yeah, because that's going to allow them to carve up a town right in there. Yeah, well.
Yeah, the Giants' issue though is they might be putting too much pressure on themselves if they fight for third town this early, because they center still too. So yeah, I don't totally know what we're gonna see yet, but we do see Giants go shipping. Again, I'm a big fan of that in general. I think it's very important for Giants to ship to hexes instead of doing double dig. So I heavily approve of what Rickery's doing, at least.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. If they overextend themselves trying to get to this black hex, because then you leave the door open for witches to come in and grab this gray. They, then there's just a lot of hexes that they need to grab for not only four hex towns, but also they want to ultimately try and block the most important hexes on the board for their opponents. So is that the most important hex on the board? I think it might be. So I think it's okay if they dig this black hex.
I think it's fine to dig the black hex too, but yeah, that's where I'm not sure it actually becomes a third town up there, because they're going to just have enough pressure in enough places. I'm not totally convinced yet what'll happen, but mostly, yeah, everything's kind of going along as expected. I haven't been. What did Alchemist? Oh, we're still just waiting for them to decide here.
Yeah,
Alchemist. I build 2 dwellings, you'd think, but maybe he's debating taking the workers and just building a stronghold this round.
Ooh. Yeah,
he has the stronghold pass tile and it's a trading post, so he has enough power. The big issue is he's going to burn. Does that burn too much? So I think he might get away with stronghold into double dig.
Yeah, he would lose out on the ability to double dig the rest of the game, because that would put. Actually, no, he would still be able to double dig.
Right, because he burns.
Yeah, he would have 2 in the second bowl, and then he spent 4. So.
Yeah, so I think taking 2 workers here might be reasonable for him, actually, because he could get away with, just building the stronghold ground. He could even double dig, although he doesn't really need to, but he could. So we might see stronghold this round from him, and I think that's totally reasonable. Oh, wow! I did not see that, and I don't like that, but that's a very interesting decision. So he just hard dug.
And this goes back. Yeah. So if Brown is not ChristopherHo, do you think that move happens?
I don't think so. I think so. I think Jesse just bad position even worse. I think he's completely killed himself. Single dig is already inefficient, and using 3 workers in a hard dig is super inefficient. He doesn't have his worker economy sorted like at all. He's gonna end this round with temple and 4 dwellings. He's not gonna have his stronghold down with 6 economy. Here it come. It's really bad for Alchemist to do that. But it's a game, and whatever, Alchemist decided to do that, but that's also, that's pretty punishing to Chris. Chris's cultists are definitely in a worse spot from that. I think this is a big advantage for Witches. I think firexed has to be so thrilled right now.
It's a huge advantage. Sorry, I was just saying it's a huge advantage for Witches and Giants. I mean, to not be the ones getting blocked from your easy hexes, like both Giants and Witches are thinking, oh man, that's awesome for my game, because now I think this adds to the fact that Giants' eyes are on Witches and Witches' eyes are on Giants, because if Brown and Black are going to mess with each other, then they're probably thinking, okay, let me secure my stuff, and if you don't secure yours, maybe I'll come in and mess with you, because that's what they're doing.
Yeah. So some of the players in the chat are also saying that they don't necessarily understand that, and ChristopherHo was even saying like, it's all a game and it's fine, but he also seems to think that that was just losing for both Jesse and himself, and it was kind of specific targeting, and it kind of feels a little like specific targeting. I think in a game like this where only the winner advances, I don't see how that move helps Jesse be the winner to advance. I think Jesse taking the workers and going stronghold into possibly double digging, like I said, I think that gave him a lot of interesting options. And I think his game would have been okay if he had done that. Having the stronghold up is great for not just the coin income, but also the every time you dig, you get power back. And then he would have a lot of dwellings down if he did that line. He could easily build more in round 3. So I think he threw away a chance to at least kind of salvage a position, and I think his game is completely dead. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Chris says he has to think quite a while. He is kind of running into the timer pressure, so I'll let producer Chris anything happens. But ChristopherHo is in a tough.
Yeah, he's
spot
down
here
to
on what he should
22
do,
seconds, which
given
is
that
very low. Jesse's actually at 1 minute. These other guys are high, around 3 minutes. So, okay.
Yeah, and so Chris kicks back, so that is interesting. Chris decides to double dig the blue. I think that's a reasonable move for him to try to continue shaking the game up. And sorry, I gotta go. I'll be right back in 2 minutes.
All good.
You can
So,
talk to yourself.
Yeah.
Sorry, friends.
So just for everybody out there, what I'm seeing is the only faction, the only guy who's gone unharmed is Rikiri with the Giants, which is really good, especially when the most important thing for Giants is you want to be messing with people and you want to make sure that you're not getting your reds taken. It would be kind of hard for any of these factions to take the reds, but now that everybody's kind of fighting each other, you got black digging brown's hexes, brown digging green hexes. This is looking really good for Giants, Giants just continue to build dwellings. They still have their double dig, so maybe this is where we see Giants come in and take that black hex on B5, which is what Ryan was hinting at, which, again, is an attack on another faction, red on green. So really interesting. And Giants will still have the workers to build a trading post. So they might want to set that trading post up wherever they plan to put a temple. So we'll see what Giants do with that. Which is probably looking to pass here. They've got enough power to buy some workers or a bridge, but I'm not sure if that's really worth it here. So they might pass for a priest. This will allow them to get, the gold, the 4 power gold action. That's going to be really good for their economy, especially when all you've heard us say is, man, low gold. Well, this is a chance to get some gold. So we'll see what firexed does here. I think Ryan is back.
Yeah. This is big for Giants, right?
Yeah, I think that was what I was
everybody else is kicking each other.
Yeah, that was what I was kind of saying. Also, witches pass here. They're going to be able to buy gold if they want or do other things. They pass for temp shipping, so that might be a sign that if Giants doesn't take the black hex, they're saying, I'm going to just go ahead and double dig it while you've left it open. And if they do choose to double dig it, they're saying, okay, I'll just take the gold and feed my economy.
So yeah, I think temp ship is really smart here for witches because now witches are putting those. So I think Giants don't mess with. I don't think Giants should mess with the North this turn.
What do you think they should do?
Town. I think they should carve out their center town. I think they take the center gray. If Giants don't take the center gray, I think Witches are going to take that first move next round. But we'll see. But Giants do go north, so this might be a bit of an. So Witches almost certainly take center gray now, and they should probably dig the northern blue because they can kind of make a weird sanctuary town in the upper right on those 3 hexes. And if they take the center gray, they can have a town with the other 4 hexes with a bridge. Those towns will require bridges each, but like, at least there's options for making some towns throughout all of here.
So I see what you're saying. So if you're Witches, right, and you double dig first action next round, you're okay with leaving a couple green hexes open for Giants to double dig on them?
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, but Giants are threatening everybody all over the place. And most importantly, I think Giants just have to take that center blue. Anyhow, I don't think they can respond any other way because and you decide to just hard dig the center blue, which you'll have enough worker will. It just causes so many problems for Giants and stuff. But yeah, one of the competitors is saying very aggressive game is crazy. I don't know if I've seen a game this blocky. Giants tend to be a bit
Yeah.
aggressive, and so cutting Alchemist made sense. But Alchemist being as aggressive as they were was really expensive. And then ChristopherHo's follow-up move of the double dig this round was doesn't have a lot of coins, and he's already getting another cult spade now that he doesn't really need. He's just gonna put it on this east yellow, I guess. But like, it's an ugly game for a lot of these players. I don't really know who I like anymore. It's so tough to judge because all the games are so weird.
Yeah, so I think Giants building a trading post there signifies that that might be their sanctuary town, which if that's true, their 3 hexes are going to be the trading post, the one on top of it, and then the yellow to the left. So I don't think they mess with green. I'll give you that. And then for their center, they'll still be able to double spade the blue and then the yellow, and they'll be able to bridge there. So I think that's kind of where Rikiri's headspace is at, because that's what I would think. That being said, the Witches being able to double spade here might actually work, like you said, which would be really cool to see, actually, because they're leaving.
Yeah, it's just tricky. Like, Witches at this point, I think, have to accept only going for 2 towns. And the other issue is if Giants' plans are what you just said, that means Giants want 2 bridges, Witches want 2 bridges. Like, there's a ton of bridge pressure on this game now, too. And none of them are making a ton of power besides Giants make a decent bit just off their stronghold. But, like, it's not clear to me how many towns are getting made this game, despite it being around 6 towns. Cultists are almost certainly going to just build a town this round and take the 2 key town and just try to win this game on the back of super good cults and cult bonuses. I would be surprised if ChristopherHo doesn't go for the 2 key town this round. I think ChristopherHo's also trying to cut Alchemist off on the east, right? So that's the other big thing that's still happening here. Alchemist look like they're not even going to get a town east anymore.
Yeah, especially since Cultists moved before Alchemist. We also see the Witches decide to dig this with their second spade. They go south instead of wherever we were talking about. So maybe they didn't want to give Giants the option to dig one of their greens, even though they still have the option to take one of their greens. But I think you're right in that they have to take this central blue hex if they want a town.
It's even just for connection. Like, Giants need to start figuring out where their stronghold town is.
I mean, surely they could just double dig the green on top of their stronghold, which allows them to connect. They could bridge over, or they could bridge up to the brown and still, town there. But who knows if cultists have ideas with stopping that, or I'm not really sure what Rick Curie's thoughts are here. But they also have the option to take the gold action, which
I think Giants take 7 coins here, yeah, and just delay.
mhm.
If witches want to hard dig the center blue, I think you just let them, because I do think you're right. They just take the green. I think taking the coins here looks really good for Giants to continue their economy. I think Giants would like it to build a temple this round.
Yeah, we saw Zoras from the first game. He was able to take a bunch of 7 coin actions, and that helped fuel just an incredible amount of actions. And actions equal victory points when you're building dwellings and trading posts, especially in a game with what we see the future track to be with dwellings and town keys. So the more gold you get, the more promising your game might look. So I would be.
He's thinking a long time, which is making me nervous. But yeah, he almost certainly should just take 7 coins again. It's just the most efficient use of power this game for him.
Does a long thinking time mean like crazier moves? What does a long thinking time equate to?
Sometimes, I mean, Jesse thought for a long time and then did that single dig, and Cultist thought for a long time and did their double dig, and now Giants thought for a good long time and did the not that aggressive. So he does take the blue. I don't love it because I would take the coins. With that said, it doesn't look like anybody else is going to be able to take the coins in front of him. So maybe this was still okay. I don't think alchemists are going to burn to take coins, and cultists are the only ones that really want coins.
Yeah, I was just about to say cultists can definitely grab the coins, but with the type of econ that they have given themselves from the first 2 years, it would just be another step in the wrong direction. That they just, not that they can't afford it, because it's almost like they've already put themselves in a hole that's just too big, but it would just be detrimental to an already detrimental game plan. I didn't catch that. What did you just say? Yeah, you're cutting out. But what he's probably saying is, I don't know. Maybe the Twitch chat knows what he's saying. It's all good. Okay. I'm like still hearing a delay of him, but yeah, I'm surprised Alchemist did not take the worker action just to help supplement the actions that they're allowed to do. Not to dwell on the Alchemist game, but I am intrigued by what their moves are. We do see the Giants able to take the 7 coins, which is really good for them. The only rough thing I see about Witch's game here, which it's their move, is not a ton of coins they're able to get, but they've got a bunch of steps on the earth, so they're going to be able to get 6 coins back from that. If they choose to pass here, they'll be able to take 5 coins there. So actually what I just said, where they're not able to get a bunch of coins, is it's just totally false, because there's a bunch of coins I see. So he's still thinking. I can't tell if his. Nah, I don't think he's passed yet, but wouldn't be surprised. The other thing he can do is go ahead and dig with his 3 workers, just to get some extra victory points, but he chooses not to. He's going to go ahead and pass. So he takes the gold with the cult step. It's going to be good for him. I mean, how many trading posts do you expect him to build? Because as of right now, he's only going to be able to get 2 victory points out of it.
Well, what else is he doing? I guess build more dwellings, an advanced ship.
I mean, yeah. He also needs to get another temple for Water 1 if he wants that in his game plan, which is always good, and that's -1 trading post. So I like the cult step, but I can see the reason why you would want the trading post, because maybe he just wants to put trading posts on the board and not even worry about getting Water 1.
It would have been an okay line to go down, but yeah, I'm guessing he's gonna go for Water 1. This is just such an ugly game. Like, it's so hard to figure out where any of these players are really getting points. Most of their economies are pretty iffy.
Yeah, it's a game that, like you said from the beginning, we expected it to be a really high-scoring game, and just from the first 2 years, it's almost like, what were we thinking? Like, this is going to be a really low-scoring game, seemingly, and that's just because of all the blocking going on.
Exactly.
Jesse G faced with another decision to take the
hurt themselves to take the single dig, but he takes workers here.
Giants just continue spreading out everywhere. They do not have the ability to place any more dwellings. So do you think they go ahead and take a temple here, grab Water 1? Because I think that's probably the move.
Yes. It looks like Giants should temple Water 1 almost certainly.
They might even build another trading post in this year. I think I would, just because it's nice to have a trading post out when you pass. You know, you get some gold back. And I guess depending on what is available to pass might decide his decision there. Because Cultist, Alchemist, Giants all still in this current round.
I think pass points are really important for Giants scoring. I think he has good economy and he needs to find ways to make points. So I think Water 1's a good answer, and I think trying to make the pass tiles work. So I think what pass tiles he gets determines a lot of how he's going to build.
Agreed. Yeah, he's starting to think. Does that mean that means we're about to see a crazy move? He's about to.
He should just temple for Water 1, you'd think. I'm not sure why he wouldn't, but.
Yeah, maybe he's thinking. Well, you did mention earlier there's some bridge pressure, and he has no way to put. I guess okay. So he can place his bridge now. It seems kind of crazy, but I actually think it's a pretty solid move here, just because you ensure your bridge placement here. So, it allows him to do everything he wants to. He can still build his temple. He can still build a trading post if he wants. I don't know, but if there is bridge pressure, maybe this is what he's thinking. Does he burn the 3 power, take a bridge, and just secure that? Because this yellow hex seems nobody's looking at it right now. There's no way alchemists are wanting to touch it. Cultists can't reach it yet. We just see a temple instead. Grabs Water 1. It's going to allow him to make up for some points that he's not going to get from missing Earth 1. He's a bit of ahead of everybody right now. Cultists are behind 6 points. Alchemists are behind 20 points. Witches are about 10 points behind. So it's nice to be in the lead with Giants because you know you're not going to win a bunch of cults. So something happened to my screen. I'm just going to pull it up on BGA. Says we are on the phone with Sprockets. That can't be right. No, you didn't. There's no chance. It's all good. I don't know if
All right.
Oh, Ryan's back.
Yeah, hopefully.
Something's happened to the screen, Ryan. We can't see. Well, I'm pulling up the BGA game just so I can look at it. But I'm not sure what's going on.
Sorry, I already have that. All right. You're right. He does build a bridge.
Ooh, he
on
takes the
air?
bridge action. I feel good.
Yeah, I like the bridge. We said there's a lot of bridge pressure, so I like the temple for 101.
I'm back.
I generally like what Rickery's been doing. I think he's been doing the good right actions. I'm not sure about temp ship though. He just took temp ship.
Who just took temp ship?
Giants took temp ship, which I'm not sure where he's trying to get to with that.
I could see it. He can take this yellow and then, keep going south. Or he can just go completely west and take that yellow, which gets him to some reds.
Yeah, that's true. Giants have this weird issue right now of how much does he carve out space for 3 towns with his digs and how much does he expand just for economy. I think you're right though. He's going to take this kind of center yellow and try to get the center south red and get that line of stuff because Alchemist surely isn't crazy enough to take that red.
Yeah, I don't think so. But we thought that about his dig earlier, so
Witches have 1 million coins now, and he burned below 6 power tokens. So I think we're going to be seeing an advancing dig from Witches.
which is going to be really.
But I guess he has to advance. He has to advance ship in order to build dwellings, though. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, he'll be able to put a bunch of stuff down this year for sure. But Giants are definitely going to take a green hex. That's what I'm thinking. I know we said that yellow hex is something that he's got his eyes on, but I think it's beneficial if he continues to attack witches.
Yeah, you might be right. It's still not clear to me who's actually doing well enough to win this game.
Yeah, I mean, cultists are dominating the cults, so it's almost like we can assume they're going to win 32 points there. They could probably just leave their temple in the middle of the map and just not connect and still fight for network because alchemists also have a temple that they're never going to connect. And they had such a slow economy start that are they really going to be able to put down a ton of buildings? I'm not convinced. So cultists should be able to contend or compete for network here, which yeah, puts cultists at a strong game, Giants at a strong game, witches all at a strong game. This is a really tough. This could be really tight between the three.
The tough part for Cultist though is where are his hexes beyond what he's already at? So Giants do now take the center yellow, as we kind of guessed.
Okay.
There's not enough hexes for Cultist to build on to have a great network.
They can go south. There's the black hex, which leads into the brown, and then they can probably continue going that direction, taking the yellow, and that's about it. Yeah, that's the end of that. But
yeah, Alchemists are gonna beat him to that other brown and blue. So yeah, that's what I mean. Like I see Cultist having a couple more hexes, but that's it. With that said, you're right. Cultists also get Priest of Fire here. So somehow Cultists like just have complete domination on the cult tracks. Nobody's sending Priest to them, which I guess again wasn't that shocking. Alchemists were always gonna have
I think
to use
that was
Priest
exposed
elsewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If Alchemist just had more workers, I could see these guys, building 3 towns, but it's really tough. Maybe in a world where they're able to grab the 7 worker or the 7 victory point 2 worker key towns, and just grabbing every worker pass tile, every worker bonus action, maybe they get 3 towns, which makes for a decent end game from what I've been thinking.
I agree that I think they have the raw resources to maybe do it. It's not super clear to me where the hexes. Actually, yeah, maybe they do have the. They might. Alchemist might 3 towns still. That could be pretty big.
Yeah, especially if everyone's thinking what we're thinking, which is, oh, Alchemists are out of the game. Like I don't think they're aiming for first tier, but they have a chance at possibly coming in a sneaky second or third, just depending on how things go with other people's moves and maneuvering around the board.
Who is winning? I think it's so because you're not. I think it might be Giants. I'm really warming up to what they're doing. This temp ship looks really good to me. And I'm dropping the call. Why internet? Why do you hate me? Why? Oh, why? Okay. Oh, so Clayton's the one that dropped that time. Sorry. Sorry, all the audience. Okay. Anyhow, I think Giants game looks pretty good. I think I'm really warmed up to their temp ship here. It gets them to so many hexes this round, in a dwelling scoring round. I think Giants are potentially going to win network this game. I think Giants might still sneak 3rd town. The 3 town plan for them does require getting another bridge for this stronghold in the center, and he does still need to get both of these yellow hexes in the, or he at least needs to get hexes up in the north in order to get his town spots. But I think Giants are gonna. Whoa! But he passes. I don't like the Giants passing there because he had temp ship to reach that southern red, and I think he should have just built it while he could reach it.
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that he knows he's going to go for a sanctuary, so he takes the points tile, but
yeah, I think it was a question of, did he want to risk gaining the tempo, because I think Alchemist possibly passed out before him trying to grab, the bonus tile that he grabbed, which is the Stronghold Sanctuary. And if Jesse with Giants is going Sanctuary here, that's 8 points, which is going to be really solid. But he's also going to be able to either secure the bridge or he's going to grab the gold. So it could just be him trying to play like safe for points and safe for his connection for towns,
Yeah, I guess he's correct. Alchemist were about to pass, and I guess Alchemist would pass for the tile Ricky Rikiri passed for, but I think Rikiri would have been very fine passing for the dwelling tile that Alchemist just freed up. So I don't really like that pass for Rikiri beyond the fact it does mean Rikiri's getting another 7 coins action this game, which that part has to be good.
I'm also not convinced he takes the 7 coins. Like it is really nice. Like it's 3 extra coins, but I think the bridge is going to be a little more powerful because it's going to force firexed into this interesting situation of, you know, he's not going to be able to do whatever he wants. He's going to have to pass first because everyone knows Witch's best part of their game is building towns because they get 5 free points just for doing it for being the witches. And then you're going into the last round getting points for building towns. So if you go into the last round and somebody sees that they have a chance to stop you from getting 10 free points, I think they're going to take a bridge, even if they don't need it. So I think Rikiri not only is going to, but I think he should take the bridge. But you know, maybe he.
No, you're right. You're 100% right. He should just take the bridge. There's a ton of pressure if he doesn't. Coins is really powerful, but I agree. I think the bridge pressure is even more this game. With that said, if he's gonna open bridge, I'm still really not a fan of just not using your temp ship to secure that southern red while you could, because it would have been totally fine to pass for the dwelling pass tile. In many ways, I actually think I would have preferred if he had passed for the dwelling pass tile, because now I think he feels compelled to go sanctuary. But do you sanctuary fire 2? Like, you want fire 2, but if you take it, then your towns are going to score at the wrong time.
Yeah. Oh man, that's probably something that he might be calculating right now. You know, at what time is he thinking of taking fire 2, or even if he wants fire 2, and if he does. So I'm sure that's going to unfold for us next year.
Yeah,
Last part.
Nobody's denying cultists anything this game. Cultists just get every leech accepted.
Yeah, I think they're in that mindset of he's gonna beat me in cults anyways. I might as well just take all the power I can. And he's the last one in this year, still making a bunch of moves. So he's caught up. Everybody's within that 40-point range. Chris is gonna pass for an additional 4 points, so he's gonna break the 50 mark before anyone else.
It's pretty low scores for the end of this round, but the fact that Chris has just all the cults and nobody's contested him, Chris is in an incredibly good position on cults because nobody's contesting any cult. So even if somebody tries to like steal water, he can just choose to close out that cult with his town keys. Like, it's not clear to me. It's not clear to me that anybody's going to stop him from getting 32 cult points, which, given how low these scores are looking for a lot of these players, the only thing I can say is I do still have some hope that Rikiri's 3 towns plus network giants maybe has enough points, but Chris is playing well.
I think 3 towns is pretty in the bag for Rikiri. I don't see him losing that anytime. It'd be crazy, actually. I think alchemists have to stop him on his yellow. Witches have to the yellow where his temple is, and witches have to come next to him and kind of sandwich him. But other than that, you know, sky is the limit.
Rikiri does look to have 3 towns pretty safely. So then I guess, yeah, the bigger question is, what are the network sizes? Because currently Rikiri essentially has just built his towns. That's where I would have kind of liked to see him expand to those southern reds just to help on his network scoring. But I feel like I haven't really talked about the Witches game for a while, but that cut on the east has been really rough, and I don't see Witches second town even necessarily.
I think I see it. So I think what the Witches game plan here is they're going to want to grab a priest which is going to allow them to upgrade their digs twice, and they're just going to carve out 2 towns in the middle, which is very rare, I think, to see. So they're going to upgrade digs and then take this red, if Giants allow them to, and then they're going to take the yellow. However, now that I say this, Cultists can always grab this yellow ahead of the Witches, and then that just says, okay, Witches, you're going to have to go.
That's a very interesting town plan, but I do kind of like it. But we're going to see right here because firexed has the choice of just committing to the bridge. Rikiri did choose to take coins, which was probably correct, and Witches do commit to the bridge.
He takes the bridge. All that hypothetical.
Yeah, so like the only spot I see now for Witches to get a second town is, well, I guess there's 2. One way is to try to get this very upper right green and blue, and the green he's already on, and make a sanctuary town up there. But that requires another bridge, and Rikiri I think wants another bridge too. So I don't know. The only other spot I could see is Witches could try to go like the bottom left. There's a line of green, red, blue, gray, but I think Alchemists are going to stop that blue. So
I agree.
So 1 town Witches I don't think are enough to win this game. There is still a copy of Water 1 just floating around. Alchemists and Witches are the ones without it. So I think Witches maybe are supposed to just build Temple for Water 1. But
yeah, they might be sleeping on it.
Well, actually, now that I think about it, I don't know if they're sleeping on it as so much as I just realized. I think they are attempting the Sanctuary Town in the north, and if they're Sanctuary Towning in the north, their second temple needs to be in the north. So they're not ready to upgrade to it yet. And quietly, Cultists have hit ship 3 without us commenting on it. So he has ship 2 and temp ship, and he has snuck his way to some extra hexes up here.
Yeah, that is definitely a game changer, because he's going to be able to get a lot of dwelling points this year, which I did not expect, because he's still got a brown up north. Even if Alchemists decide to take that, or Giants decide to mess with it, well, Giants can't, but he's still going to be able to go up in the top left corner of the map and dig the yellow and put a dwelling there. And make sure that he can put another dwelling later.
Yeah, Alchemists, looping back to some of the earlier stuff, their economy is just still so bad. He at least does have a decent number of points, but he barely has dwellings, and no wonder he's not, now that I'm paying attention, no wonder he's not going for Water 1. He's not even going to build that many trading posts this game. I think he's just trying to limp his way to 2 towns. He's certainly not getting 3.
Yeah, we see Witches build a trading post up top, which might mean they're trying to go for a Temple Sanctuary combo.
Yep, it looks like he's tried to 3rd town up there, which it does look like Giants and Witches that are fighting for the last bridge.
The last bridge, which I would expect at any moment either of them to pass out, because it's that important to get this bridge.
I also was wondering if ChristopherHo was going to go for a second town here in this bottom section. He still has not built a sanctuary, so I would expect to see ChristopherHo next round building a temple for Air 1, and then I guess maybe a sanctuary for Fire 2 now that I am not sure why he put the landscape there. That seems a mistake to me, because now it requires Fire 2 to make a sanctuary town there. So
unless he wants to go stronghold route.
Oh, build sanctuary and stronghold. Whoops, duh. Yeah, that's a lot of resources though. That's 16 coins, 8 workers.
Yeah, that's a ton of resources.
He doesn't have that, but he might be able to get there, I guess. He has a ton of power coming in from the fire cult rewards, so that's essentially 4 coins. I don't know. Maybe he could do that. Regardless, I'm not sure why you would place landscape in a dwelling round. He still has a dwelling to build. I get that he has this northern brown currently, but like
Yeah, I'm with
guess-
you. It's
I guess you put it because you're using a spade, but
I'm just really I'm really expecting a really crazy pass here from witches or giants. Like it seems like that is worth so many victory points because it's victory points for you and then denying victory points for the other person. So
yeah, witches really can't justify doing it yet, though, right? Without securing that blue hex, you can't bridge to it and then just let giants build it, right?
no, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, so witches can't exit this fight yet. With that said, too, like, God, it's a lot of points for witches, but witches do have a lot of points to still earn. Like his economy, he has so many resources to invest, and I'm usually the fan of passing early, but I think he needs to build another dwelling at least. I'd still be tempted. Whoa, okay. Alchemists are revealing where their other town apparently is going, and I'm not sure I'm a fan of that move. He's still trying for 3 towns, but this southern town just looks better, and now he left cultist another hex. I thought for sure Alchemist's next move was to take the bottom left brown. Cultist
Mhm.
can now reach it and build on it, and I would not have left that to Chris. If you're gonna be this aggressive early, keep the aggression up.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
I guess the only reason to do this though is he hopes giants are eventually gonna dig this yellow and get on this red, so he has neighbors in for this town. But I
Yeah,
don't know if
because
giants are doing that.
Yep, cultists are able to get that dwelling on that brown and gain another cult step. So we
Honestly,
get
Chris
we,
wants people to decline him at this point. He just like he would
yeah,
rather
he's
have the
gonna run
power.
out of steps. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So now we are at a point where witches are able to pass if they want to because they've secured the blue. If they want to get that last town, they're gonna have to get the bridge. So if Rikiri is worried about that, he passes now, and if he doesn't, he's saying, you know what, I don't know what that says. I guess maybe he just is missing it if not.
I don't.
And we all can miss things, throw
Yeah,
back to game one.
it's it's partly missing. It's partly Rikiri would like to just build some trading posts, but yeah, no, Rikiri does pass first. So yeah, it does look like Rikiri was thinking the same stuff we are, that there is a lot of bridge fight, and he wants the bridge, and he knew that witches couldn't go for it until witches had secured that hex. And so that's a savvy play by Rikiri to make sure to time that out well. He has giants are going to get 3 towns, have a pretty good network. His game's still pretty good. I don't know if
Yeah,
it's
I
winning,
mean,
but it might be.
very strong, very strong.
I think witches are only getting 1 town now, and so it does not look like firexed has enough points anywhere. I think this is probably between cultists and giants. Cultists, I think, are gonna get 1 more town,
Mm-hmm.
and he already has pretty good points, and he has crazy cult points. And Rikiri has a lot of network and a lot of towns coming in. I think alchemists are still just too far behind, but admittedly he passes for 9, and he's gonna take the 8-point tile here. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe alchemists are doing some really wacky game, but I don't think he has enough points in the final round. But
Yep, the players in the game seem to think Rikiri is having an extremely well played game as well. Chris is saying, he said just straight up, Rikiri, you're playing a wonderful game over here, man. He said, love that you got all 3 towns set up. Rikiri's kind of in the zone right now, so he's saying, too on the edge to talk right now. But I think everybody knows that this game has not only gone really well for Giants, but Giants have capitalized on the opportunity. So, that's kind of there's 2 parts to this game. It's can you get yourself
yeah.
in a good situation, and then can you actually do something about it?
I said that I had really liked a lot of his moves, and I have. He's done. As Lubin said, I think on the last week's broadcast, which I think is very accurate. This game is really largely about just making sure you're not making enough mistakes, and you rarely win this game through just like one really clever move. It's just game long how many little errors are you accumulating, and Rikiri's done a great job to just pay attention to the timing and the pacing of everything, secure stuff. Uh, Earlier this game, he took that center blue hex knowing he could still get the 7 coins. This
Mhm.
round, he was building stuff knowing he didn't have to pass until Witches secured, the actual hex. That's just good play.
Yeah. And every move, influences everything, because if he doesn't take the blue in the center, Witches is able to grab it, and that's one less bridge that he has to build. And then he can, Witches are a little more flexible in their game plan. So, it's good to see. It's good to see that move, paid off
Witches
for him.
Witches have a really tough choice here, but I think he has to pass for this ship tile. Witches need 3 shipping in order to get network. Okay, and he does pass.
Hmm.
It's just so many points to secure that pass tile, but it is unfortunate for him that he still just has so many resources that he can't take Water 1 or whatever he would want
So
to do instead.
I actually think there's a chance that Witches are going to be able to get a second town here. So they're going to have so many resources. If they're, well, they're only, oh man, I mean, just when you see the resources this next year, because not only are they going to have so many workers, they're going to be able to grab the 7 coin action. And you're going to look at the resources and say, how are you not able to grab another town? So I don't know, maybe he is able to make a sanctuary town in the bottom right of the map. I wouldn't be
Oh, bottom
surprised if he's
right's
able to
a
pull it
good
out.
location. Yeah, bottom left is still maybe open to. It's more open to Alchemist. So I think you're right. Maybe if he gets 2 ship, he
Hmm.
could take this gray, blue, green in the bottom right. I don't
Yeah.
think ChristopherHo will have the resources to mess with him, and so maybe Witches do still sneak another town down in there, but I don't know. Maybe he has a lot of resources. Maybe he does. That would shift my opinion of this game a decent bit. If Witches can still get 2 towns, I think he has some hope.
Yeah, that would be crazy. I mean, it really came out of left field if he's able to pull that off.
The other way to get there, and I don't know if it's worth it, but like he could build a trading post and get he could get a stronghold and then fly down over there. I don't know if he really has that many resources, but that's another way to
It's definitely a way to get over there, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, and I missed that Rikiri had already taken Fire 2 on a Sanctuary, but he hadn't completed his towns yet because he didn't have the bridge. So that was really smart. This is good. He takes the 1 step up every cult. I think that's a really good play. I think the cult towns and the priest towns are really good for the non-cultist players because 2nd and 3rd places on the cults are just wide open for people. And
True.
that's still a good number of points.
And especially, if we're thinking Witches are going to need these priests for upgrading digs and shipping, you're pretty much not competing with anybody in the Colts anymore, because I don't see Alchemists going super heavy in Colts. So Giants are sitting on, 3 priests that they can just send to the Colts.
I think Giants are going to get a lot of 2nd places on the Colts, and I
Yeah.
think that along with pretty good network is gonna matter.
Mm-hmm.
I do think Giants are probably the favorites to win this game. I still think Cultists have an annoying. I'm saying annoying. I mean, Chris Ho's been playing surprisingly well for getting cut off. He's
Yeah,
still
I
in
mean,
it.
he's doing what he can with what he
With
was given.
he was handed a ton of cult points, and he was able to mess with Witch's presumably easy town in the east, and yeah, we'll see. I mean, he's gonna take Air 1 here, I assume. Uh, so he has lots of point favors. It does not look like he has the resources to Sanctuary
Stronghold. Yeah,
and
no.
Strongholds. It does look like he requires Fire 2, which is probably okay because I'm not sure anybody cares, but this does still loop back to I don't really like the landscape play from him though.
Yeah, I agree.
But I guess did he take Fire 2 with that temple?
He
Oh yeah,
did,
he did.
so
Okay.
he's already.
Yeah, and he's gonna Sanctuary Air 1. Never mind, it's fine. He secured Fire 2 fast enough, I guess. Rikiri takes a Coin Town, which
He takes a coin town, which tells me he's got something planned in his calculations. Maybe he plans to use those coins for an upgrade shipping after he builds his next town and try and compete for network because he hasn't secured network. So, maybe he's already done all the calculations and he's saying, I need this many coins to do this many things.
it does look like he needs a good number of coins because he does still need to build a dwelling and make 2 trading posts. And then, yes, advancing ship and trying to build some more dwellings is a good goal. So he probably did need that. It's just painful to me to not take the 8 victory point town there because it also came with 5 power. And
Yeah.
5 power is already like 2 or 3 coins. And it's just locking up those cult second places instead of alchemists or witches getting that town. So I think I would have taken the 8-point town.
I think I agree.
With the power he had, he could have eked out his 3rd town and then taken the coin town.
Yeah. I agree. I would have taken the cold steps here, just because it comes with so much power. But again, maybe he's worried about, his lack of coin for the things he has imagined for his in-game.
And maybe getting blocked from a coin town is even more painful. So this is a bit interesting from firexed building the temple. He just takes a temple for Air 1. I think that's the end of our dreams for him.
Yeah, that pretty much says
it's too many resources dumped into a thing that wasn't a second town. So
agreed there. firexed to me is probably going to win network. He's got so much resources. He can still grab some greens around the board. Oh man,
I agree. He has an open hex. Now that he has 2 temples down, he can put out his silly landscape. So
the landscape.
ChristopherHo does just take the 11-point town. That was the right play. He just needs points, and he's getting them where he can. But yeah, I agree. It does look like witches are going to win network. I think giants are going to get second. Yeah, because ChristopherHo is still cut off. So
yeah,
I just think giants with second on network, giants with second on a bunch of cults, giants get another town yet, and he still is going to pass for pretty good points with the trading post tile. I think giants are going to be at like 110 to 120 before passing.
Yeah, that's really solid.
It's solid, and then with second place on network and second place on several cults, I mean, I think giants are in the 140s probably. I'm doing pretty loose counts here, but
yeah,
I don't think
just some guesstimations.
I don't think any of these players can quite get there. ChristopherHo, I think, is clearly the closest. He has 32 cult points. He might even get 6 network points because alchemists are really lagging on network, but I think alchemists will still get there.
I don't even know if alchemists get a second town here.
I think he has to take Fire 2 here, honestly, which is a bit sad, but I don't think Air 1's worth it to him. If he takes Fire 2, it looks like he definitely can at least build 2 dwellings and 2 trading posts in the far left and make the second town. And indeed, he does take Fire 2.
Yeah, no. Well, firexed is going to spend a decent amount of resources into the sanctuary plus trading post, so it does take away some of his
Wait,
You know.
why is he going Sanctuary? He doesn't need to build a Sanctuary at all. He just builds 2 trade.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
I'm dumb.
Nah, that's fine. But I mean, he did lose the race to Water 1 this game. So like, I don't know. It's just tough. Like Witches wound up. I really thought Witches were in for a better game, but Chris taking that Eastern Blue really did mess with Witches, and then Giants also hurt Witches, which was good for Giants. But one town Witches in a late town game is obviously not good enough. I'm still curious if your plan for the Witches trying to eke out a town in the bottom right could have worked though. If he
Yeah,
didn't
maybe
have a
maybe
temple, if he didn't have a temple right now, it looks like he maybe could have done it, but I'm
yeah,
not sure.
he just had so much going on. I don't know. He may have lost getting to Fire 2, which may have been in his thought process if he was looking at that line.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, he's just gonna get the one town here. He's gonna advance ship, but yeah, unfortunately, it's just not enough for Witches. And it
Yeah,
can't be enough for Alchemy. My points adding up are just pointing to ChristopherHo and Rikiri being the ones at somewhere 130 plus, and I don't know exactly who's gonna win it yet.
mm-hmm. I mean, this really is a stunning outcome. In the sense that the first thing you said when you saw this board is, "Holy moly, this is going to be a really solid game for points," because especially the town in round 6, the last spot, but also just the early econ flow of the game, and now we're in the last year, and this is what we see. I mean,
it was such an aggressive game. That's all that it came
yeah,
down
it's
to.
so
Yeah.
bizarre.
I was predicting, like almost everybody to make 3 towns possibly, and instead we have only one faction with 3 towns, 2
Ah,
factions at 2 towns, and 1 faction with only 1 town. So like way less towns than I expected. There were so many pass tiles this game, but like players' economies weren't super good either because of some of what they did. Again, Alchemists really sacrificed early economy to do this block on cultists, and
mhm.
I really think it has cost them a lot. Alchemist getting cut off though clearly didn't. Alchemist getting cut off by Giants early didn't help, and I will say Chris Ho's move to cut this East off is quite clever though, because it hurt Alchemist back again, really knocking Alchemist down, and it really did slow down Witches. I think if Witches have this easy second town, I think firexed could have had just a very solid game with taking Water 1 sooner and just playing Earth 1, Water 1 Witches with 2 easy towns and a pretty good network and a little bit of cults, and I think he would still be in this game, but as
Yeah,
is, that move from Chris Ho really shifted things up too.
yeah. I mean, I've heard from other people and from time to time again that Chris, given a bad situation, can always find really clever ways to, get out of it. He can put himself in a position to get second, even in like a terrible situation like we saw. It wasn't, the end of the world type thing, but it definitely felt like there was no possible shot at first place. It just felt like one of those kind of moves. And Chris just showed us, how to pull himself back into the race. And it was with that pretty clever move. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, and you should. It was really good. Now, with that said, he is at 90 points and he's passing for 10. So he's at 100. He's winning all the cults as 132, and then it comes down to network, which he might be beating Alchemists. It's close-ish, so maybe 138. So it comes down to can Giants break mid 130s? And it looks like Giants are going to be left these red hexes, so I think Giants do get to advance ship and put out a couple more dwellings,
Yeah.
which really helps his network. I think Giants can tie Witches. God, Witches still have a lot of resources. I don't know. At the very least, Giants do need to advance ship once, which, okay, he just did. He's going to build a trading post, get some 3 more points. That's 110. And then he passes for 8. So he's at least 118. at least second on network is 130, and then he has enough cult points to break 140. So yeah, I think we are seeing Rikiri win this game by a little bit, which is super awesome. He's played very well and absolutely deserves it. I know earlier in the Twitch chat, some people said that they were getting to the point where they wanted Giants in this auction, just because when you're Giants, you have so much control over the game, and you can control the aggressiveness and kind of who you're going to go after. And that is partly true. Giants weren't aggressed here, and he slightly got to bully alchemists, who kind of kicked off the chain reaction of bullying cultists, who then bullied witches, and Giants just won that whole exchange. So.
No, there was definitely a chain reaction that started after that. It was, I think it was like 3 moves in a row. Or actually, they didn't happen in the same year, but there was definitely 3 moves that happened. It was red block, black block, brown block, green / black. I mean, it was just boom, boom, boom. All pretty unexpected too.
Yeah. I just noticed alchemists are still building this southern town now, and it must be because he has a neighbor there. So it's
for the neighbor, yeah.
But like, I'm counting his resources. I don't think there's any way he still sneaks 3 towns. But gosh,
yeah,
if he does, that would be.
Yeah, he's got it. Not 3 towns. He gets 2.
Yeah, 3 towns. Yeah, he gets 2 towns, of course.
Oh,
but
yeah,
the third town,
No.
I have big dreams.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 workers. He has 7. He could get 2 more off of his town, but yeah, I don't see any magic way for him to make up the other 3. So.
Yeah, you really do dream big if you were seeing 3 towns.
I mean, look, he has all the hexes at least. Like he has infinite coins.
He does.
But yeah, it's just the workers, and this loops back to it loops back to the slow start. He just he only had temple dwelling, and then the next round he barely got out dwellings, and then he did the super expensive single dig hard dig move, which
it just all really hurt to help his worker econ, which is what he needs right now. He's gonna get some points from this town, but he's looking in some rough shape.
I think he's still 4th. Witches look like they're gonna outright win network. Witches are passing for a lot of points too. Witches firexed has done pretty well with what he was given. I do wonder if he had ways to secure a second town somewhere sooner, but maybe not. I do wonder if I missed /you or everyone that bottom right town. I wonder if he could have made a mid-game stronghold pay off this game to just fly down there and make that his second town. I suspect that maybe was the play that could have still got him a second town and been competitive in this game, but
yeah, there was a round somewhere in the middle of the game. I mean, he first action bought coins and he just had a ton of resources. Maybe that was his opportunity to do that, to go that route. I can't remember what. Yeah, I can't remember what was on the board at that time. So maybe he had to prioritize other things. So
I don't exactly remember either. This is a very kind of what if. It's just somehow it's witches. You got to get a second town, you'd think. But I agree. I don't know where it should have been. So, oh well. It does look like witches are at least doing. Witches actually have pretty bad cults. Again, Giants are partly doing so well here too, because he did still wind up with the other 8-point town, and he has such good cult points. There's such easy second places and even pretty easy third places. So Giants have played a really nice game of just sneaking 3 towns, and the fact he's getting so many hexes right at the end is pretty nice. His network is good. Witches would still have to get out another dwelling in order to beat him, and admittedly, witches don't have an open hex. Giants.
Witches messed up. They should have gone. They shouldn't have dug their. Well, assuming they have the resources to build another dwelling after they build their trading post, they should have put their landscape I believe it's the Raven's Nest. They should have put it on C2, which is the gray hex, which leads to 2 green hexes.
It is the Raven's Blunder, and
Raven's
very
Blunder.
aptly named because it's just a blunder. It's a terrible landscape. But regardless, though, you are correct. That does look like it's potentially has cost firexed some extra points here at the end. I think Witches could have put their landscape on the northern gray, and then possibly still built 2 dwellings. It looks like he has enough resources he does have enough resources. He could build trading post and then still another dwelling if he had a hex. So it does look like he cost himself slightly there, and that's further good news for Rikiri. I think Rikiri ties for first on network now instead of the 12 points. So I think Rikiri definitely wins.
Yeah, I mean that could be good news for Jesse G, who's still trying to fight for 3rd place. And he's within striking range of Witches, so that move could have pushed firexed out of 3rd. I mean, I'm not sure. I don't really know the exact count, but they're pretty close, especially considering Alchemists still get another town. So don't discount those points. That's 9 from if they take the priest plus 5. That's 14 points just from whenever they build this town, plus the trading post. So 17 points.
Yeah, Alchemist might not actually have 4th this game. Witches might have got kicked around enough. I'm not sure. Oh, and Witches just go for advanced dig there. Yeah, that probably makes sense, actually. The trading post wasn't really worth much, so it was just 1 point on Air 1, so it wasn't worth it. The Priest really wasn't worth it anywhere. So yeah, upgraded dig was a good move for Witches there, but yeah. It does.
Good move.
Alchemist might sneak 3rd, which is surprising to me. I was clearly talking up the Witches game too much, I guess.
I was with you though. I mean, assuming Witches were able to get another town, and especially 2 more towns, I mean they would have a really strong game. But I guess we just didn't expect this to be such an aggressive, and Witches miss out on all those important hexes, which is even crazier because they went for a dwelling rush, which
they got Earth 1 and double dig and had a pretty good economy. So yeah, I agree. I thought they were that's a good strong round 1, but getting cut off on the east here was really dangerous, and then not being able to secure a 2nd town is that might kind of be the edge. I mean, if Witches get another town, they have another 20 points, and so they're sitting at 120 something here, and then they'd be tying for first on network and have decent cults, and he'd be right there, right? So I think it really is just not having a 2nd town is essentially what has taken the Witches from being close to first or competitive for first to possibly last.
We see Jesse in the chat. He says, I don't know if you see it, but he says, good game all. Sorry for making it a rough game. I take full responsibility. So I think he knows he caused a little bit of chaos. But I mean, that's you got to expect that in a 4-player game. There's only so much you can guess.
He was put in a tough spot, right? Even after round 1, I thought he was in 4th place when he ended round 1 with a temple and a dwelling and got cut off. It looked really bad. I'm still think if in round 2 he just built his stronghold and did the double dig line I was advocating for, I think that still leads to a better outcome than this. But his wild line added a lot of flavor to this game. So we see Rikiri pass. He's already at 118, so he's 18 ahead of Chris. Alchemists are overtaking Rikiri.
I just wanted to go ahead and I don't know if you guys can still hear me, but there's some storms going on here. So if I kick out, that's probably why. Yep. I see I'm disconnected from BGA. I don't know if I'm still in the call though.
Yeah, we're here. I'm at least hearing you. So.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
Jesse does get out a couple extra dwellings, and Jesse's network does at least overtake cultists, but that cut off temple really hurts Alchemist because he's just 1 behind Giants and Witches on network.
Well, here we go with the in-game scoring, man. That was
Rikiri's saying that was super tiring, but he better be ready to talk for a few more minutes because I'm pretty pretty confident he's getting the winner's interview.
Yeah, I think so. I think he better be ready for some questions.
And yeah, given that my fellow co-caster has the closest second virtually on lock, this is not a close enough second by any means for ChristopherHo too. So this is the end of the line for this is the end of the line for the rest of these guys, that's tough, but that is how it goes. Absolute smashing by Ranior, actually. My gosh, a 14 victory point margin to win here. Like, very well played.
Yeah, that's quite a difference. But I mean, it makes sense because he played such a solid game, and everybody else was having to play with, things that didn't quite go their way. Everything just seemed to fall just the right way for him. Really, really neat.
Yeah, and I mean, unfortunately, Jesse is, just in a very distant fourth place. I don't know. I mean, Ranior played very well, and he deserves it. It does. I would feel pretty salty as ChristopherHo in this game for being only 13 points behind Giants and having Alchemists kill their game to really also hurt me. And then I would feel pretty salty as firexed too, I think, to have the just downstream effects of all that continue to hit him. But it's how it goes sometimes, and you got to play around it. And part of the advantage of Giants was that they can often be the aggressors and are rarely aggressed. So that's what happened here.
And I still think it's really, really well played by Christopher to still snag second in a game like this. Really well played. But I believe we're about to get Ranior here on the phone call. That might just be a couple minutes or so. We'll see.
But yeah, so Jesse, as I was saying earlier in this game, Alchemists were the super risky, high reward, high risk, and super high risk really cost Jesse, and he probably doubled down on making it worse for himself. But
hey,
how's it going, Ranior?
Hello, congratulations.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that, honestly, but yeah.
No, you played really well.
You played really well. Yeah,
I honestly
agree.
think
I was talking with ChristopherHo and firexed.
Yeah, I think it was Alk's move kind of made it happen. Alk taking the yellow from cultist kind of put them in an awkward spot and kind of snowballed from there, I think. Am I audible? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it definitely helped your position a lot, but you also made a lot of pretty accurate decisions by buying your gold, buying bridges. Like, you were able to snag everything you wanted, like, every year. It's almost like everything just kind of came to you, and you were able to hinder Witch's easy town building. So, what was your biggest concern in this game? Like, were you worried about witches, worried about cultists? What was going on?
I think the only thing I was worried about was securing 3 town space for me. So that was my primary concern. So witches going shipping kind of puts a lot of questions as to where my towns will be. So yeah, I wanted some key hexes, which I got, which was fine. And one more thing was everyone wanted spades. So I think that's one of the Giants' strong points is you can get Act 4 early on. And this game was definitely tight on money, so the early Act 4 was really nice. So,
yeah, that's pretty much how it looked like everything went. I mean, you had no reason to buy digs. You were able to buy a bunch of gold. It seemed like you got every hex you needed. Were these the 3 town spots you had planned in your head from the beginning, or were you just going off the fly?
not from the beginning, but so the sanctuary town was up for grabs. I was either gonna go bottom of witches, like in the middle continent, either that or, as I said, where I am right now. But
Yeah. Huh.
So bottom requires a third bridge. So you were willing.
I know,
to aim for 3 bridges.
It was a decision which was primarily dependent on alchemist and witches. If witches and alchemists sort of hinder there, then I have to go somewhere else.
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
pressure on the bridges for sure.
Yeah, I was actually thinking alchemist will take Act 5 in round 1 and secure the brown hex, but they didn't. So kind of gave me a town space there also.
Ah, that would have been
So
neat.
yeah, I mean that was
Yeah.
that was a big moment in the game when you cut off alchemists, because essentially that led to the downstream effects, I think, of alchemists
Yeah.
deciding to cut off cultists and cultists cutting off witches. So were you
Yeah.
always eyeing up that brown hex if it was available to you?
Yeah, for sure. I think this game was, while I was doing the bidding auction, it was pretty clear that Giants was going to make or break the game. Whatever Giants decision comes up, he might as well decide the winner. So I had to be really sure as to where I'm showing aggression, because it will break the entire game into one person's favor. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed to be the right move because you had time to delay your digs on green, so making sure black couldn't go crazy, and once black gets to that brown, then they can threaten your possible sanctuary town spot, even if you didn't want to go there. It was definitely nice that you were able to get there and hurt alchemists at the same time.
Yeah, it was definitely, I think, some luck, and I would say jesseg kind of screwed up Chris Ho's plans. So I mean, yeah,
Yeah, but you were able to capitalize on the mess up,
yeah, definitely. I
seemingly.
think,
So that was really important on your part, and you did, seemingly flawless. I mean, everything looks like just ideal.
yeah, lucky break. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, wasn't
Yeah.
expecting this for sure. I was just gonna hope that I'll see an awesome game from Chris Ho and be like, oh, I could play this way or something. We'll see.
I mean,
You're selling yourself too short.
yeah.
I think I told it. I told Lumen and Chris when we were doing the casting for the previous game that all I want is giants and some spade rounds and I'll be fine. I think it kind of worked out that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, so I will say though, like you correctly identified that this game was quite tight, and part of why you win this game is you took 3 7 coins power actions, and one didn't get taken round 1, so you took 3/5 of the coins power actions. I mean, that often leads to a winning game. You played giants very well. I always advocate for giants to try to advance ship and just use your digs. Don't take the 2 spades power action, and you never did. You never used your power for spades. You used it for bridges and coins like you're supposed to, and you you played a really good Giants game. I mean, you don't get Earth 1, but you still had a strong game because you got 3 towns, you got Water 1, you got 24 points off pass tiles. Like that was well timed and well played. Like
Also cool
and
to
the
see
cult
the
towns
under.
at the end. Were you always?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was just saying,
No, you go
also
ahead.
cool to see the underdog win. At the beginning of this game, you at the time had the lowest rating, and you beat out everybody else. Not that rating is like the end be all to what's going to happen, but it is cool to see that happen. So really, really superb game.
Yeah, I think that probably I would chalk out to luck, but we'll see. Yeah, I think Giants is one of my better factions, even though it might not seem from the stats. But yeah, I think I would say I get inspiration from Halig a lot on that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a very strong player. Were you high on Giants from the second you saw them put in the auction? It was just a matter of when you were going to take them?
Not really. I think the one thing I was worried about was Giants. As I said, Giants making or breaking someone's game. So I wasn't I wasn't sure when I should jump to Giants, because I
Yeah.
honestly wanted someone else jumping on Giants, because I was hoping, since I'm the underdog, they won't hinder me too much. But yeah, after a while, no one was going on it. I'm like, you know what, chuck it. We'll see. But yeah.
Well, I guess that's the end of this.
Yeah.
We've been told to wrap it up from production. So Just want to say congratulations to all the players, not just Rikiri. I think ChristopherHo, he played a really solid game. Jesse, a bit of an aggressive move, but the players kind of expected that. He still was able to do with what he could. And firexed, it's crazy to see one town, but he still put up 123 points. Solid game to all these guys. Look forward to seeing you in the future, Rikiri.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, man.
Yep. Best of luck in the upcoming games, and we'll see you all around.
Adios.